On this episode of Content Sessions, we talked to Justin Wu about stacking growth. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to connect. Funny way of meeting each other online. That we were both hosting an event online on the same day, and kind of came into some opportunity there. So, yeah, it's
yeah,
really cool.
yeah, collaboration I think is key, especially we're working with other community leaders and content creators out there. I think that's the best way to share networks and grow together.
Absolutely, man. Well, tell us a little bit about the business.
Yeah, so Stacking Growth, we've been running it for the past like 2 years now. It started off with me as running kind of a marketing agency, just helping different companies from like Kickstarter campaigns to fintech, blockchain companies with their marketing, growth, and community building. And what we noticed around was that there was a lot of marketing events and startup events that are happening, like TechCrunch Disrupt and others that would charge $2,000 tickets, but then you'd have speakers come and just like share their fluff or just shill some sort of like salesy. It became over salesy. And we're like, okay, well, this is not the type of event that we would like to go, and we don't want to pay 10,000 plus just to go speak on a stage. Why not just create our own stage in the way that we like it to be? And that's when we started to launch our first Stacking Growth, summit, what we called it. And what we did with that event, we just put it together within a month. We told all our marketing friends within the community, and we packed it with like 150 people. Some people flew from like Florida and others to come to LA as well too. And the difference though that we've done in terms of like our marketing events is that we combine the worlds of startups and tech, and then we bring in marketers and the business side, as well as some agencies. And then we also bring in the influencers too. And we blend it all together because, you have pure tech events and you have like the pure influencer events and you just have marketing niche events. But like everybody is doing growth and marketing in their own different ways. And influencers, they are not really good at, they're honestly, like we met so much of them, like they're not really business savvy, and they need to know and work directly with these startups that could be potentially customers of them, but they can also build relationships and actually become more business savvy. Same thing with the startups. They need to connect with influencers to get mass distribution, and then marketers works with everybody else well too. So that's kind of how we kind of put together a community, both online and offline, to kind of reach and help level up other entrepreneurs and marketers on how they can grow.
Love it, man. That's really cool. So before we kind of talk about the event space and the things that you put on themselves, how did it kind of start? Did you kind of have a marketing agency and then kind of came up with it along the way, or how did it all come together?
So for me, like it actually started even a long time ago, probably like 6-7 years ago when I started to launch my first events back in Seattle. It really was me trying to just unite like-minded people. Especially in Seattle, it's this much more smaller town compared to like LA, right? Like maybe like, I don't know, 5-6x smaller. And there wasn't a lot of marketers. It's super heavy, tech enterprise heavy. And so I just wanted to bring like-minded people together and started it off as a meetup. And then me just started to just speak on some presentations and talks on terms of my tactics. And then really started blowing up when I started moving down to LA. When I just started to, I guess our summit was our first event that we just launched out of the gate. And once that we did something that, in terms of 150 people, we're like, okay, well, how can we scale this up? Let's try to run like a 300-400 person type of event. Let's double it in size. And we just did it, even though we're not like an event marketing company. I think our number one goal has always to provide value to both the speakers, to highlight them as much as possible. So it's like production, videos, getting their name and brand out there as well, so they can find customers and leads, build followers, and then ultimately providing value to the attendees as well too. So it really, for us events, why I like it so much is that it puts us in the center of thought leadership in whatever category we're in. And it allows us to build a two-sided marketplace essentially for ourselves, where we go out and invite the top other influencers and brands and agencies that we personally want to also work with. And a very soft sell way for us to build that relationship is we give them a stage in front of other people. And then while we're doing that, we also bring in other, the larger crowd to come and watch as well too. And because we're not like an event marketing company first, we're using it more as growth. Like we kind of charge near to just a little bit above cost in terms of our ticket sales, just so it doesn't become like a barrier for people to come in. Just because it's like, okay, cool, we'll make like a couple thousand, $5,000, $10,000 on an event. Like that's not where we make all our money. We make more money on the back end services of the clients and projects that we work with. And because we have that mindset, like we don't, as long as we know we can break even with some costs, like we'll still execute an event for the community, just because we know that in terms of like the long-term value, we'll be able to utilize it and build our brand and follower base from the ground up.
For sure. It makes total sense. And so from the agency side, what type of work do you do there? Is it all like growth stuff and
yeah
launches?
So I mean, it really depends on the type of company of it. If it's like a SaaS, and so generally when people come and work with us, it's more like they want us to be kind of like their outsourced CMO. So it's usually full stack. We usually see in the case where they just say, hey, we don't know what we're doing. We raise a ton of capital, or we are looking to scale to the next stage. We haven't built our growth team. We need help building our growth team. But before we do that, we also need a full architect plan of our growth sprint. And so that's when we come in there. And even if they have a current CMO, we just work hand to hand, because they themselves might not be really good at specific channels, or they just don't have the bandwidth to that. So we just want to be that kind of like tactical team that can take the whole thing, or we can take just specific chunks for that. And the way that we've been able to do that is we've just been building up, in terms of our own team, we have people that are just very strong in a dedicated channel. So somebody's good at chatbots, another one at PR, copywriters, social. And that allows us to be able to just go and do something that's more a la carte and something that versus something that's a full-on retainer, a larger retainer. And in terms of like the type of clients, and it's not, growth is not one size fit all for the different types of businesses out there. You have e-commerce that are focusing on B2C, B2B and SaaS are just straight like, sales, biz dev, sales funnels, SEO and content marketing. So we've been, we look at every type of customer in a different bucket, and then we deploy different channels and tactics for the type of business that they're in.
Got it. And how are you kind of growing it? Do you have a dedicated team, or do you have kind of a core team and then a network of people that you kind of work closely with?
A core and network. That's how it allows us to scale and also have less overhead up front. So it's per project basis. And then that allows us to also then bring in a lot of different partnerships to be able to execute the different channels accordingly. Again, like when a lot of the businesses come to us, they're coming to us for the high level first. And so they want us to pre-plan and build. And then we can then point, either they just tell us to appoint our own designers, our own videographers, or et cetera, to come in tactically, or we go shop it out to another channel specialist. And we're very upfront about that. But for us to be able to grow, we used to have like a very big team, and we thought that was like true growth, but that becomes more liability and huge overhead, especially to maintain. And so the way we've just been able to just consistently, like, we'll continue growing the core team, and usually it's like generalists or growth marketers that can handle or understand kind of like the high level overview. And then we just have these specific, I guess they're vendors or consultants that we work with that are just like channel specific. They come in and they just do what we need to get done tactically. And then we're still executing from the top level view for the client of what we're doing. So that's kind of like how we've kind of built our organization. And I think that we'll continue doing so.
Awesome. Yeah, it makes total sense. And so how do you, as a growth marketing company, how do you think about growth for you, like your client acquisition? How do you guys market yourselves?
Yeah, actually, it's like we've barely like even all of our businesses have been like all coming down through referrals, and it's and that has been creating essentially a growth engine itself, where referrals keep referring other people, and we start not even needing to market ourselves and just focusing heavily more so on the work itself. The way that we've been able to do that, even from the start and all the way to this day, is go out. It's like, why am I going to go spend money in ads to go out and try to generate business? I can, but those leads could potentially come in cold. Why not go out and partner with other people that are targeting the same exact businesses that I am, in the same way? So when I first moved down to LA, I knew nobody. This was about like 6-7 years ago, and I still wanted to launch my agency and consultancy. What I did was just started looking at all the different meetup group leaders. I looked at commercial real estate agents, outsourced accountants, lawyers. These are all people that directly are involved with either the money or the founders, so they can really snuff out who's a good client already for me.
Right.
But they already have the say in there. And so if you just have, so what I did quickly was went to them and did a bartered trade. And it's like, okay, do they want like affiliate commission on the referrals? Do they just need a new website? Do they need social media consulting to help better do they need more leads on their side? Because I'm a growth guy, right? Like, can I blow themselves up? Like, in the end of the day, if you make somebody else money, they'll help you out. So that's what we did. It's like, we just started building our network vast, where we built up all these relationships. And then the moment they actually bring us a referral, like, we try our best to just straight up like pay them upfront, our referral partners. So even if they're not asking, we just like, here's some money. Right. And they're like, wow, like, you just surprised somebody with referral stacks. You for sure know they're gonna start consistently doing it, everything. It's just always taking care of your partnerships. So that's been our number one generator. The number two generator now has been just continuing building up my personal brand in the space. So LinkedIn obviously has been super huge for me, as well as Twitter. And then after that, just started branching out on all different channels. I just started, the way that I've been able to just build my brand is through just content marketing and just sharing my thoughts out there without overselling. Instead of just talking about, oh, learn how to make 6 figures, learn how to buy this course, blah, blah, blah. I just started flipping on the opposite side, where I just straight up show the results of the campaigns that we just run. And then some of the tactics that we do to get there. I won't release all the secret sauces, but it shows what it does, though. It's a little bit tricky, because people think that I'm sharing all the secret sauce. Well, people want to execute it. The reality is the people that want to really execute it don't have the time, resources, or know how to still execute, and they'll still hire you. But if you're showing them your methodology and your approach and your mindset, like, they're already bought in. They're like, oh, this guy's smart. This agency is great. Let's definitely just work with them, because we don't want to deal with it at all. So that's kind of like how we went about it. And for the past 2 years, it was just creating content from our events, my personal brand, and referrals. And because of it, like, I've barely been able to, we don't really spend any like outbound dollars to acquire any customers currently.
Yeah, no, that's great. And it's funny because seeing some of your content and having a previous conversation with you about some of the event-based stuff offline, we think about things really, really, really similarly. So I was excited to have you on and kind of bounce those chats. So I do have a question though. So if you've got case studies or here's how we did this for X, do you ever get any pushback from people saying, hey, you built this strategy for us and we paid you for it, why are you sharing all the strategies online? Or do you ever get pushback about that?
No, not too much. I mean, I don't think anything that we've done has been like super secret sauce. It's just like, usually and if we do, like, honestly, like, we obfuscate it. We just don't make it as available, in terms of, we don't unload all our secret sauces out there, especially some of the growth hacks that we do execute and run. But what we do is just provide the high level of kind of like our approach into doing it, and some of the tools that we do it we do execute. But we don't like go through every single tutorial and every single step to reveal every single thing that worked for the client. Obviously, the projects have to be okay with us kind of sharing that. We're not going to go and release all the data that's out there. But usually it's always post fact, unless there's been some times where we actually just show things during the campaign and post as well too. But it's not anything that's at least like what we show out there is not anything that's super crazy. If it is, of course, we don't really want to reveal anything that is like a growth hack that's either exploiting a certain channel or automation. We just keep that under wraps for that, for many purposes, right? We don't want that channel to go away, and
Yep.
also to get in trouble by the platform.
Exactly.
So we just keep it as that. But as long as we still talk about like the mindset, and help people if they want to still learn on the approach and just get them thinking, I think that gets the job done without hand holding and telling and revealing every single detail.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And so back onto the event. So where are they at now? The in-person stuff. Or have they been growing? Have you got multiple ones out there?
Yeah, so we've been doing an event. So we've been doing kind of like a quarterly summit. So that's like usually a full day event, usually every like 4 months or so. And then meetups we do every like month in LA. And we do want to scale that out into the East Coast. So looking at New York as well too. But what we noticed though is that it's cool to do events, but it doesn't necessarily scale in a sense, because there's a lot of people, especially now if we're looking at what's happening in today's time. There's so many events and experiences now. Everybody's like doubling down on experiences. Even having some conferences out there trying to act like they're creating like Burning Man level experiences and production levels,
Right.
like the Summit Series and others that are doing a lot of experiential type of experiences. And so there is, kind of a little event bubble that could come across, depending on what industry you are, whether it be like blockchain and fintech. There's like an event every single day. And so people get actually fatigued out. It gets super expensive. You're not productive. And then also people can't access it everywhere. So we want to kind of like level up that experience now by bringing it through an online summit, so that we can actually have more reach, bring in other speakers around the world that we didn't have otherwise in terms of voices. And then allows us to just interact with as much more people as possible. Again, like, because we don't really care about the profit of the ticket sales itself. It's like we don't have to run the event to thrive. Our goal is to just reach as much people as possible and help educate everybody. So online has been good. And then later on, I think we can again further scale our offline activities because of that. What we've noticed is that you could go out and spend a lot of money to build an offline event, even produce a big one as well. But if we look at like something like a TechCrunch Disrupt, they built a massive online asset and brand first, and then it became super easy because they had the trust and buy-in to execute a high level or high ticket event as well too. Yeah. So that's what we want to approach, and we'll reevaluate like a higher ticket event and bigger conference down the road later, once we have the buy-in and the reach to do so. So it's like we took the data in from the offline events, then we want to hit scale, and then we'll go back and approach into something bigger a little bit later.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Even just getting the email base and getting the leverage of, well, why would I come pay you versus someone else? Well, I gave you 5 or 6 magical online ones. Now, we're trying to step up that game. So it makes it an easier yes, when you've already delivered on a whole bunch, right? So I totally get that. And so tell me about the one that you're hosting coming up.
Yeah, so it's on November. Actually, we moved it to November 5th. So because actually I found out I actually have to head somewhere on November 6th. That's the only real reason because of that. But
Got it.
So it's coming up. We have so far 20 plus different marketers coming on board, and they're just sharing us their background and experiences, like yourself with podcasts and everything else, about different traction channels. So we have things from like what's happening on the TikTok marketing, B2B, sales hacks and funnels, enterprise growth. We also have just like general growth hacks, talking about different tools that's out there and the approach. And then personal brand, community building, online to offline. So what we like to do is like kind of bring people in from different channels. So it's not just one perspective. Even if somebody, like I said, if somebody's doing something on the B2B side, you still can be learning on their approach on potentially something on the B2C side of how they're going out and building relationships and spearfishing for leads as well. So like we've just curated a list of 20 plus speakers for this version. And if it goes well, then we want to have it as a regular cadence, maybe every like 2 months or so, to kind of build a regular episodes. And turn it into kind of like a regular show, so to speak, for our community, and continue to build it further.
Yeah. The thing I love about the online thing is, whether it eliminates the need to be like travel, be in a specific spot. It cuts down the whatever I don't call it risk, but like the availability of a speaker where they can, hey, we can preload some stuff. We can have the conversation ahead of time. And then you can have the content that lives on the site for longer than just that time, and people can go back and get access to it later. So I really like the space. And funny enough, the last 3 episodes of the podcast, I brought up the software that we're using, the Hey Summit software, which I found out you guys are using. And
it's amazing.
it's so well thought out. And I mean, I'm not just saying that because I love Ben, because I've known Ben for a bunch of years, but actually, funny enough, I didn't even know it was his until I started talking to people about it online, and he reached out to me directly. He's like, "Hey, did you know this is mine?" I'm like, "Oh, shit." And
That's awesome.
And yeah, I mean, he's making it reasonable and practical to host something like this. Whereas the idea of consolidating all this information and sequences and web and keeping all the data in a certain spot, I don't know how feasible it would have been or practical it would have been without something like it. So.
Yeah, same, and we're utilizing it as well too to be able to manage our events and then our events at scale as well too. So it's been a great platform, and they've been updating a lot of features it seems like almost every week now. So it's like they've been really hard at work at it, and I love it.
Yeah. Very cool. And so, how are you guys thinking about marketing your event?
Yeah. So the way that we're growing our event is first our top of the funnel is actually a chatbot. So we're using Facebook chat currently to get people to sign up for a chatbot. And also we're still collecting their emails as we go through. Chatbots are just insanely powerful in terms of top of the funnel. You're getting about like 85% right now. We're getting about 85% open rate in terms of people engaging with the bot, and then click-throughs are just almost anywhere from like 60 to 80%, depending on the action as well, which is insane compared to an email. And we're still getting their email, right? So then what we're doing there is just collecting all the emails, and then also getting a secondary channel for blasts and retarget emails as well. And then we're setting up a landing page then that's talking about the event and selling the concept as well with all the speakers. What we added on there was a viral engine giveaway, kind of like a social giveaway, where people, when they sign up, they have a chance to get more points to share the summit. And if they do so, then we're going to reward them with either like a t-shirt, poster, 1 hour consultation on my time, or free access to our content library or courses that we have coming up. So we're just finding all these different things to give value for and trade for people to just like share. They're already going to do it anyways. And really motivate them to grow that. And so anything that we put in, hopefully will multiply the efforts out there. And then what we're going to do then is just going to slam our current email list of like 5,000 into that, and then continue to stack and multiply that further. Then afterwards, what our goals is to then also distribute it on like Eventbrite. I think Eventbrite has really good organic search and distribution. And so what we want to do is our little growth hack and tip here is that we're creating kind of an event for every single speaker, so to speak, separately. So that people, because the thing is, there's like, we have so many different speakers speaking on different topics, right? So the B2B person is going to sign up for the B2B.
Right.
The sales guy is going to sign up for sales. So we just create a nice little graphic on Canva that just like shows the speaker and the nice graphics, like sales hacks with Justin Wu.
Right.
And we treat that as an event. And then from there, that event might get 10 signups for one, but like imagine like we have a few events, like maybe like 20 events that we push out there, and then we'll organically get some traffic that way as well. And then another thing too, then just like traditional ads that we're going to blast through as well. And then another fun thing too that I want to do in terms of my personal brand to constantly get more people to sign up is I'm going to keep talking about it, but not in the way where I'm just talking about the event itself. I'm going to just talk about how I'm actually going out and growing the event and creating a content piece around that. So people they're learning about growth, and then they also happen to just see the summit and event as well too. I always like to do that to show things people as I'm progressing through it. And it's like subliminally, like they just see the event that's happening and they want to be part of it and be bought in.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, very cool. And so just to kind of crack into a few of those, because I kind of want to, deliver some value to the people listening. Not that it hasn't been already. It's a lot of
Yeah.
great ideas. But so for the chatbot, are you guys going to do it where there's like it's an ad that opts into the chatbot?
Yeah, there's two folders. One is like direct click through into the chat. And so we're using manychat.com. It's been a super great platform to just toss people into there. And so there's two things. You can do the auto reply to comments. So it means if we can bait people to comment on the post, then we will just immediately hit them with a bot.
Yep.
And then there's another one that's a straight up a bot. That just goes into the messenger, I should say.
Yep.
And so there's different ways for us to think about how to approach it. We can either just show the events and faces itself, or we can make it look like kind of a product, so to speak, where either it's like a book or like a image or a DVD or video, where people feel like they're getting a tangible thing for participating in our summit, so to speak. So it's kind of like a lead magnet for the summit itself. And so we're still playing around kind of those different aspects for that. And then just doing retargeting to get people to come through as well.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And then, so are you going to, and then from the viral loop thing, I mean, I really like it. We've done it a lot of times for giveaways and contests, but we've always done it in the past where it's like, share this on click to all these different platforms to share it on Facebook and Twitter and
Mm-hmm.
And it always brings you, more entries into the contest. That's generally what you get from that. So how are you guys framing it up from your perspective?
Yeah, the social share does not talk about the giveaway itself, and the landing page does not have the giveaway openly. When you sign up, you think you're signing up for the summit initially, and that's the biggest difference. Why I personally don't use Gleam.io as a platform. Gleam is just purely about contests. We like to get people to not be incentivized of joining because of the prizes themselves. We want them to join because of the content, and so that's one way that we filter it out. Obviously, if you could skew towards like the prizes themselves. Some people do, and that will get you, whatever leads as much as possible. Maybe not the highest quality, but that's the way that we approach it. Is that we don't focus on the prize itself. It's an added bonus after they sign up. So the form looks as natural as possible, as if they're going to sign up for the summit. And then when they click through, they're like, oh, well, by the way, it's more like an upsell. We're like, you could get these other things if you're involved with the community, if you do these things and actions. But when they do share it out, it does not talk about any of the prizes at all. So we don't hit the giveaway bots and the giveaway trap, which we've seen a lot of in the previous past. It just says, come learn from top 20 growth and product marketers on this free online summit.
Got it.
You should join too.
Got it.
And so that's the way that we've been able to get them to come into our thing. And this is just from running a lot of, similar to what you said, we run a lot of giveaways and contests before for many different reasons. If you do, there's purposes and places where you do want to just throw out the prize. It was like, hey, win a chance to meet Tony Robbins. Okay, cool. Well, you're just gonna cast your net really wide, and it's you want to bait out a prize if the prize is super valuable like that, and you know that the prize itself is going to be a huge value add to the customers that you're trying to attract. If you're giving away like straight up like $1,000, then you're just going to get the free for all people. So always, if you are doing a prize giveaway, make sure that the prize is as relevant as you can to the target audience that you want to, that's going to benefit from it as much. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. And so you guys are doing it in a way where it's like, hey, get an hour conversation with me.
Hour conversation with me. Some people are giving away like 1 month free services to like a unlimited design team, kind of like Design Pickle. There's another new one called Splash Design. And then there's like then some other things that don't really cost us as much as like a t-shirt. Like we might I'll just get like somebody like a designer like on Upwork or something to design like a nice like t-shirt, or just throw a hustle t-shirt out there. People will take it. It's only gonna be like 20, $30 on like Printful or whatever, on print on demand, and just like get it shipped out. So it's like something that's just like not too expensive and tangible for people. And then trying to later on also talk to some of the other speakers too that have their own agencies or SaaS or businesses, and have them offer some sort of like discount in trade for sponsorship. Like we would list them as a sponsor, all the different messaging and emails out there, if they can also contribute to this pot.
Yeah.
One other tactic that we thought about too that we'll do a little bit later on is, as our list gets bigger now, then we can really go outbound and start asking for some really big prizes from other SaaS companies and other great products out there, because we have the audience and social proof and lists where we are now a community authority. And so that's the next thing that we want to do, and to create some sort of like master or super pack of really highly valuable items. But we can't do that because we don't have enough leverage currently with the other brands out there. But once we have that data to show, then we can start getting some really big prizes, and then we can accelerate our growth even further to explode things out too. So that's kind of like our mindset with that.
For sure. Yeah. One thing that we've been playing with is, we've got a couple of existing marketing clients that have big lists that are like really relevant. And for us, the way we've been kind of pitching it out is, hey, why don't you become a sponsor of the event? And for that fee or for that whatever, blast it out to your 40,000 person customer
that's
base.
Really good.
Yeah, right. Because you've especially if you've got someone who does SaaS products or sells B2B or sells into marketing community, jumping on their email list to try and siphon some of that attention. That's how we're kind of thinking about it right now.
Nice. Yeah, that's a really good approach. I like that a lot, actually. That makes a lot of sense. And it's a win-win for everybody, even though you are collecting their emails, but it's like you are giving them essentially a community and thought leadership asset too, from the sponsorship and branding perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And then are you guys thinking about creating assets for your speakers to send out? I know you said that you've got the events that you're going to post with their image and that on it. And then are you guys going to create shareables so the speakers have a way to push it out to their community?
Yeah, exactly. So we're working on those assets right now to just make a nice little graphic about that, and then also to just add a little blurb. It's totally optional in terms of the comfortableness of the speaker themselves. If they want to announce it like in a short 1-minute video about it, that's going to definitely go much more further than an actual image. But it's just whatever they're comfortable. Each of the speakers comfortable. I think it's just giving them options, but giving them the prompts. Working with the speakers will help us drive more traffic as well too, and that's like another great way to build up communities.
Yep, absolutely. And then, so for this one, is your kind of thought to monetize the content on the back end of it, or is this more of just like we just want to get some attention on the front end and start building the online?
Yeah, no, I think the goals is not to monetize it on the back end currently. I think that if we do monetize, it will be all original content that we're going to create ourselves in-house in our own studio. We're just looking at this as more like a brand building, list building, and lead gen opportunity that it then gets people to at least sign up to our, like, let's say we might use like Thinkific later on to have video on demand. And then we'll go in for the upsells of our own like original content later on, if we want to go down that route, which is an option that we thought about. But for now, our priority is just to do the biggest list building activity as possible and provide value to everybody. Then going in for the asks later on.
Love it. Yeah. One thing that I've been really keen on is when we're talking to our speakers is to make sure it's like, hey, this is not a webinar. This is not a promo channel for you. Like, I want you to just come in with fire. I want like all the best ideas that you have for as long as you're talking. And then, I don't want it to turn into, I've seen so many webinars that go down they're just the worst.
Yeah, exactly. And it just ruins the integrity and the business too. So I definitely, and that's kind of like what we're all about too. So.
Awesome, man. Well, that's great. I mean, that was just straight fire. That was a lot of help to a lot of people. I think some of the products that you use, some of the techniques will be as valuable to whether people are making speaking engagements or in-person things or just, contests for their e-commerce. I think there was a lot to unpack, and that was awesome, man. That was probably one of the best episodes.
Oh, thanks.
Cool, man. So where can people find the agency first, and then your event that you have coming up?
Yeah, so you can find our agency. Well, you can find both at stackgrowth.co, stackgrowth.co. We're doing like a little upgrade to the website, but you should be able to find both our events and what we do on that website as well too.
Got
And
it.
yep, yeah, that's
And
where we're hosting everything.
proof. And where can people find you?
Yeah, so I guess on like LinkedIn, Twitter, my handle is Hackapreneur. It's like hackathon,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, hack, because I'm always believe in hacking. You have to hack your way through entrepreneurship. So it's HACKAPRENEUR. But I'm sure we'll share it somewhere.
Yeah.
If you
Perfect.
just look up Justin Wu, I'm constantly trying to out SEO other Justin Wu's out there. So hopefully I show up on the very top.
That must be that's a unique challenge, I bet.
Yeah, there is this photographer and director that works with celebrities that's also named Justin Wu, and he owns justinwu.com. So I'm always
Right.
trying to like out SEO him.
That's funny. There's actually a guy who's a marketer slash programmer out of BC,
Like,
out of Canada, Mike Moll. Like, what the hell? What the hell are the odds? If there's any relevant Mike Moll, and it's this guy who's a marketer in the same space as me, owns the .com, owns the Instagram handle. I'm like, you bastard.
yeah, you're gonna have to show him up.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, really appreciate your time. It was great chatting with you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Cool.